Muneeza Sheikh is an employment lawyer and partner at Levitt Sheikh and joins us now live in Toronto. So welcome to the Rundown. So first of all, at these select locations, according to Toronto Star, you go, and there on a tablet is a cashier, in this case located in Nicaragua, even though you're in Toronto or elsewhere in Ontario. So first of all, is this legal?
It is. Unfortunately, it is legal. And what we're hearing from Freshii, like a lot of other companies who are, contracting out for this sort of automation, it's entirely lawful. Now, unfortunately, it's extremely demoralizing to employees there who are not just doing the cashier work, but also, maybe mopping the floors and doing everything in the stores as opposed to just taking orders. But it is entirely legal. I suspect what's going to happen is Freshii will take the position, and quite frankly, other companies that are doing similar are also contracting out this type of work are going to say, look, this is very different from the work that's being done in this province, and it's an entirely different task. And that's an aggravating response, but it is entirely lawful and above board.
Do you see this as being the future of cashier jobs and even jobs in other industries where it'll be outsourced, where you could be speaking to a cashier, say at a grocery store that is overseas?
So, could there be other Percys lingering around at other businesses? Absolutely, yes. I will say that, in my experience representing employers, I'm finding that they are looking in response to the pandemic to cut corners where they can, and of course to cut costs where they can. And the response you're going to get from companies is, look, it's entirely lawful, it's illegal, notwithstanding the fact that there's this massive disparity between what we're paying our employees in Canada and what we're paying employees in Nicaragua or India or wherever the case might be. We are adhering to the labor standards of that country. So don't knock us for it. The problem I have is, even though it is, technically above board from a legal standpoint, what we're likely going to see is that the existing employees, because look, these are Canadian businesses, they require Canadian employees to, remain operational. They're going to become extremely demoralized. So, in this case with Freshii, we see that the union has had a very, a visceral response. And while the union seems to recognize that it's not technically illegal, with respect to the impact this is going to have to the existing Canadian employees within Freshii, I think that's where the business might suffer. Now, we could also expect that Freshii is going to have to provide a response to, because there's a public accountability factor as well. We might have angry Canadian residents saying that, we want to boycott a business like this that is taking jobs away from Canadians and, giving it to individuals in another country at the fraction of the cost.
Yeah, but many call centers employ workers overseas. Is this really any different, or is it just that it's just kind of odd right now to walk into a store and to kind of speak to a cashier on a tablet that's in Nicaragua?
Well, the company wants us to believe that it isn't any different. And of course, they'll be using the call center example. But nonetheless, the difference is, you're just not just speaking to somebody on the phone. You actually walk in, you see a real life person on a screen, you're able to converse with them, and you're placing your order. And then you walk away with your food, at the actual business, as opposed to, some service that's being sold to you over the phone. So it is a little bit different. With that being said, 6 months from now, are there other businesses that might incorporate something similar, and maybe the shock value of speaking to somebody in Nicaragua to order your salad wears off? It's entirely possible. The big, the negative impact that I foresee is just going to be around keeping their current employees incentivized to do a good job. But, unfortunately, job security in response to the pandemic has been eroded so badly that, people are willing to hold on to their jobs for very little, unfortunately.
Muneeza, thank you for taking the time. Muneeza Sheikh is an employment lawyer and partner at Levitt Sheikh.